Good thing is I can finish that siding right there right now and put that soffit in, and it'll start to look a lot more like a house from the street here. Got a little soffit in and turned around here and started on this wall. And don't you just hate when you get siding all the way up to here and realize that no good electrician didn't put an outlet in for you? Luckily I had the stuff to do it. I just had to take a few pieces back off. In case there's somebody new here and didn't get the joke, I really wasn't fussing about the electrician. I am the electrician. I'm standing here nailing this siding on, and I should have known better, but fortunately I didn't get all the way to the top before I looked down and remembered it. I had been nailing it up. I've marked the stud locations, so I was nailing it, into the stud where I could with 1¼ inch nails. So what I did, I just pulled those nails out with a little cat's paw. Didn't take but a second. And when I nail it back up, I'm putting them back in the same hole, but I'm using 2-inch nails. That way I get a good grip. But it was only, I had to take 1, 2, 3 courses off. I was getting ready to put the 4th piece up when I realized it, the 4th one up. So we're back in business. I'll get the rest of it nailed back up. Had a comment on the last video about using the cement board up against the house. Said that it would wick moisture into the wood and cause a problem later on down the road. Now, my intent of putting the cement board there was so that wet concrete didn't pour up against it and soak through the house wrap. Kind of get concrete smooth up against the wood. Putting the dried cement board there, and then putting the wet cement on this side of it, which truly, since I went ahead and used this expansion joint, none of the concrete actually touches the concrete board. But I can see the point if you had the concrete board where it would be wet all the time. It would definitely wick water through it. I mean, you can set a cup of water upside down on cement board. Eventually it'll work its way through to the bottom. However, up here where it's dry and we've got 4 tons of gravel underneath there that is above ground on top of this other slab, I don't think we're ever going to have a problem. Hurricane Zeta, the remains of it, the remnants of it, I guess, it just moved through yesterday and overnight, and it's about to starting to lighten up now. It's been raining though. Flood warnings everywhere around here, and this is what the front porch looks like. That's with no gutters. You can see a little bit of wind blew some rain back onto the porch. I mean, not a lot, but just a little bit. But that's because you got tons of water sheeting off of here, especially right here where you've got a valley coming down. So once you put gutters on this house, you're not going to have any water on this porch. So that's why I'm not concerned about any damage from having cement board up against the house wrap. Hi guys, happy Thanksgiving. We're back at the little house finally. Got all of our heating coils caught up. We're doing some wiring. I put a bunch of boxes up upstairs, but we need to do a lot of things down here, like finish this ductwork, run wiring, put down the polyethylene on the Crawlspace dirt. So what I'm going to do is put in a few of the permanent light fixtures that's going to be down here in the basement, so we can basically plug them in upstairs into our temporary power cord and get some light down here, which will make all the rest of the other jobs go easy. So we'll try to get a little video as we go. I kind of like my hose to be lined up nice and straight. I know it doesn't matter, but it looks better and may make it easier to pull the wire. So what we're doing, we're chalking us a line on the bottom of the joist in a straight line down through there, and then we're going to mark where to drill every hole. Missy can go in front of me with this little jig, and she just has to lay it up against the bottom of the joist, line this edge up on the chalk mark, and then she can just mark that corner right there, and that gives me a place to drill the hole and get us a good straight pathway for the wires to run. if you ever get the opportunity to do a bunch of wiring, go ahead and get your wire in 1,000-foot reels. I've got that little caddy on wheels, but you can make up anything, put a piece of conduit through, and be able to reel it off. It keeps it nice and straight with all those little curls like you would have with a 250-foot roll. Plus, I've got that thing sitting up there in the kitchen. I stuck the wire down just through the one hole I drilled through the plate in the floor, and I can sit here and pull off as much as I need down here in the basement. Cut them smooth and straight, and looks good. Okay, here's what I'm putting the lights in, these little plastic nylon boxes. Had a tough time actually finding those. None of the Lowe's locally have any of the round plastic boxes in stock. Home Depot in Johnson City had these, which are the smallest ones, a 20 cubic inch. The problem with using the smaller boxes is something that's got to be inspected. I don't know if you can see in this. This is one of the lights, one of the boxes. If you can see back in there in the box, it tells you what the volume of the box is, and then it's got 10 14, 8 12s, or 8 10s. So on this particular box, we can have 8 number 12 wires is what it's talking about. So, let's see if I get that camera on it. So each one of the paired conductors counts as one, so we have 2 blacks and 2 whites. That's 4 wires. The grounds count together, which even if you had 10 of them, it would still just be 1 wire, so that's 5 wires. And then the fixture counts as 2, so that's going to be 7. A switch or an outlet or a fixture will count as 2 of those wires. So that box, since it'll only hold 8, that's the maximum number of wires that can run into it, is these 2 12-2 wires. There's plenty of room to put a third one in it, obviously, but it just doesn't meet code that way. So ideally, I could have got the bigger boxes and I wouldn't have had to run. What I'm having to do now is just daisy chain from one light to the next light to the next light. So I'm probably ended up using a little more wire, but it was that or wait on some boxes from somewhere else. I guess there's a shortage because the Lowe's here in town has been out of most all the plastic boxes for over a month. And all the other Lowe's are getting low on most of the plastic boxes, but the round boxes are pretty much non-existent right now. So I've got these little LED lights. This is what the little light looks like. Just a little wafer thin LED light. You have your ground and black and white here. It's got a little lens that'll snap off here. And inside of it you just have your little LED light and components in there. The lens is separate. So I'll just connect those up and screw them down and go on to the next one. Okay, I think I've about got all the electrical wrapped up down here for the basement as far as getting the runs, man. That's just going to be an outlet. It's also going to go out and feed the outlets on the front porch. It'll feed outlets here by the furnace for say your condensate pump. And then I think I just stuck one up here just to have. And then it goes on around and goes out. There's an outlet on the back porch as well. So all that'll be GFCI. They don't have to be arc faulted if they're outside or in a unfinished basement. I've got a dedicated circuit for the sump pump. Kind of thought, the reason I thought about putting an outlet right here along with that one would be if you wanted to put a second monitor of some sort that could tell you if the water started getting up in case the pump wasn't working or somebody turned the breaker off or unplugged it or something. You'd have a second circuit. So redundancy, I guess. And then of course the lights. I decided I'm not going to put any lights back in the Crawlspace area. I mean, it lights it up enough and you're not going to have anything back in there. If you were going to work there, you could easily turn the light on, but I did most everything back there without a light because the battery died in this big one. So we got the poly down. I didn't record that because I'd have probably got demonetized. All you would have seen would have been my crack crawling around in there. But It's 6 mil black poly. Got a little sawdust on it there because I don't know if you can see it in this dark light, but I had to drill some holes after I did this, and but I'll get back there and clean them off. I didn't want them on the dirt anyway. So I think we're going to quit for the night. I'm going to go ahead. I've got these lights just stuck in an extension cord up there, but I'm going to go ahead and get all these outdoor outlets and basement outlets, put them in, wire them up, and that way I can just make me one cord up there near the panel that I can plug into my temporary power, and I'll have you know, easily accessible power anywhere where I'm working, and I'll have these lights down here. I've got to start, I guess my next thing down here is either going to be putting that duct in or running the gas line. I may jump back over here and get the gas line running here and roughed out. I don't have my water heater yet that sits right there, but I'm sure I can come close to getting it in the right spot. Got my flue there for it. Okay, we're upstairs here. I've got a bunch of can lights nailed in. This is going to be some little pennant lights over a bar. Got some boxes for some ceiling fans. I think I got one of those in the living room and one in each bedroom, and then on the front porch. I really haven't done anything up here, you know, other than put up boxes and run what I had to for the when I put up soffit in the porches. So what I'm gonna get started doing is drilling the holes so I can run all the wires. The outside walls, you know, I'm gonna put insulation in here, and they're only 3.5 inches thick. So if you go drilling holes through here to run your wire between your outlets, you've got to somehow split up your insulation to, you know, either separate it and put some down behind it, or slit the back of it so it'll go in there. And I think what I'm going to do, I got a pretty good deal on this roll of wire because it was damaged. I think I gave $100 for a 1,000-foot roll. So if I did all of these outlets in the exterior walls by going up one stud and over and back down, then that would use about a couple of 100 feet of wire, which would be what, $20 worth of that special row I got, and I wouldn't have to worry about you know, insulation at all on these. The interior walls I don't care to go through because I'm not going to insulate those. So I think I'm going to go ahead on these exterior walls instead of drilling all the way through, and just go up through the trusses and back down. I know it seems like a waste, but like I say, it's going to be easier to insulate, get a better job on the insulation, and it'll actually be easier to do. Talking back about those lights last night, here's the actual lights I put in the basement. They make these in a warmer, I mean a cooler kind of temperature, like 5,000 or 6,000 K, which is more like daylight. That's what I put at the shop, but this is what they keep in stock at my local Home Depot, which is about a 3,000 K, which would kind of be a warm yellow light. But these guys only pull 15.7 watts a piece. Oh, and I put 5 of them down there. So that's 78 watts. If we got 120 volts, that's what, 0.6 amps for all of them. Brought my little meter in. We'll go ahead and check it over here where I've got it hanging out of the wall, plugged into this super safe extension cord. Come on, where we at? Oh, just gotta turn it off. 0.59 amps. So you can see you could put a lot of LED lights in your house on one circuit. They're very, very, very cost effective. Okay, pretty much got this wall done. Didn't take long. Just go up and loop down. And now some people might ask, why didn't you go down and go under and back up? Be a lot less wire. Well, 3 ways you could do that. One would be go down and drill a hole through every joist and run your wire. 2 would be to go down and nail the joist, or nail the wire to the seal plate. Or 3rd way would be to put a running board underneath the joist. Anytime you're in a crawl space or a basement and you're using smaller wire like this, smaller cable, it has to be on a running board. I don't know if they're afraid somebody's going to grab it and hang something on it or pull up from it or jerk it out of the wall or what, but this is just much easier for me. And if you do HVAC in this area, any day you don't have to go on a Crawlspace is a good day. Okay, I'm gonna see if I got enough battery left in the camera to show you how I get this type of wire off the row straight instead of all curly. I've got a lot of this wiring in here now. Here on the interior walls, like I say, I wasn't worried about insulation, so I went ahead and ran it through the studs. Exterior walls, I did like we talked about earlier this morning and just ran it vertical and around. Like I said, it uses more wire, but it'll make the insulation better. I think I'll probably get somebody to insulate the house, but it'll make it easier on them. I won't have to be standing here watching to make sure they get it everywhere it's supposed to be. But what I'm going to do, I've got my little tripod here. I'll set it up. I'm going to build a little jig here that I made 1 year ago when I built my house. It was probably 20 years ago, and it worked real well. So I got enough stuff laid out here hopefully to make it right quick. I'm only got the one row of wire I'll probably be using, but it'll help me, and it might help somebody else that's got a bunch of these to unroll. Okay, so what I got, this is just this is a piece of wood that was nailed to the bottom of one of the windows. I just cut it in 2 pieces about 18 inches long. And what you'll do is put them in a plus mark. Drive you a good long deck screw down through the center. Hopefully stop before you go in the floor. I didn't. And then this is just a piece of 2x2. I don't know, what is it? 18 inches long, 16. Put your board there. Get it good and sturdy. And because we really don't want this to spin, we'll stick another little screw in it just to kind of dial it in. Keep it from so that'll hold that all right. Now that wire could lay down on there, but it would probably get off center. What you can do, you can take some old Romex if you don't have anything else, and you can stretch it across the top both directions and give it a sling to lay in. But since we do HVAC, we have this seatbelt top strapping to hold up flex ducts. So we can just take some of it and screw it across this thing. I'll probably put 2 screws on each side. Across the top, leave it a little loose so it can center good. Get you some extra here. I think that'll work. Okay, we want the same thing going the other way. Have any hardware on the truck that I could make a swivel out of. I think the last one I did, I had like an eye bolt with a swivel link in it that where I could actually hang it from a door header and it would swivel around real easy. But I do have fender washers, so I just took a piece of Romex that was laying here, stuck a fender washer between the 2 wires, and stuck a wood screw down through it. I'm going to see if I can do this without twisting up that strapping too terrible bad. And you don't want to go too tight because you want to. So what you want to do, you want to be able to hang this thing in a door opening and have this thing swivel. So I think that's going to work. So while I've got that like that, Go ahead and open up my wire, at least get it out of the bag. You probably got the straps a little looser, but I think that's going to work. I'm going to hang it up over here in a door, and then I'll get you a shot of it. Got her hanging over here in the doorway. All I did was take that piece of Romex and wrap it around the top of the header there to hold it up. And now when you grab it and pull on it, that should swivel. And you can drain as much wire as you need off. And it gives you a nice straight piece of wire versus what you would have if you just if it come loose on that wire and on that coil and just kind of, got little loop-de-loops in it. So that didn't take but a few minutes to make, didn't cost anything. Of course, I had all the stuff, but if you would probably have scrap wood and screws and at least Romex to make your little cradle laying around if you didn't have anything else. So that's just maybe a quick way to get rid of your 250-foot rows of wire without too much trouble. I told you something wrong on these boxes yesterday when we was talking about the fill. We talked about this one having room for 8 12s. And the reason I told you something wrong was these lights don't actually count toward fixture because of the way they're made. So you don't have to add 2 wires for this type of fixture. They call this a canopy style light, and it doesn't have a mount or a yoke that goes up into the box like some of the older lights have, or some of the lights I guess you get today depending on what kind it is. And the exception in the code is if you have less than 4 or less wires that are smaller than 14 gauge, which of course these are, then you don't have to allow anything for this type of light. So in that case, I could come out of one of those boxes with another 2 conductor cable and go somewhere else, which will be good to know for future add-on use in case I do decide to add some back in the Crawlspace. It might be easier to take off, but I just wanted to clear that up. Now, if you've got a switch box, then those switches, because they stick back in the box here, they're going to count. So in this case, this box here says it can do 14 12s. Well, right off the bat, I got 7 because of this 4-way switch. I've got 3 and 3 is 6, and the grounds will be 1 is 7. Okay, these 2 switches are going to count as 4. That's going to be 11. So 11 from 14 leaves me 3 wires. The other switch in this light is going to go up to these can lights. So I really don't have room to bring power in. These are just travelers. One of these wires will be hot at a time. The neutral will be all the time, but depending on which way the other switches are thrown, these wires are hot or not. So you can't really like tap off of these to do your porch light or your hall light. So I can't really bring a home run in here, switch it and go back up, because that would be 4 wires and I only have room for 3. So what I'm going to do is just bring a switch leg down, a 2 conductor wire, which will do nothing more than just turn the power. I'll run the power into this junction box, and then I'll switch it by running down to the box here with just a 2 conductor wire. I'll just make it or break it with that 2 conductor wire. So I just wanted to clear that up about the box fills. I actually went back looking at it because of smoke detectors, and I saw the exception for this type of light. So I wanted to, I knew I'd be getting a lot of comments on it, so I thought I better clear it up right quick. Some of you people are mean. I'm just kidding. I love y'all. Keep watching. Well, it's dark 30, and I have worked myself out of wire. I have another row at the shop. I'll bring it tomorrow if I get to come over. But I had some LED bulbs that were in this house when I tore it down. I took everything out of it, and so I had them in a box. I went ahead and stuck some of them up in the can lights just to get me some construction lights. You can see it gets pretty dark back in here. I've got my DeWalt tripod light to work too though. So I'm out of this wing of the house now. I've got to do the 2 bathrooms and that back bedroom, and then my kitchen pretty much everything in the kitchen is still got to be done, but I should have plenty of wire. I say that, I'll probably run short, but I think I'll have on the outside wall receptacles. Really, I've just got these 4 left that I've got to run up and down like I did on all the others, so I think we'll be pretty good. I'm gonna call it a night and go get some pizza. Well guys, we're back to another Saturday here. I got to work some at night this week, just an hour or 2 here or there. We had a little snow and kept me hopping with no heats. We were below freezing for 2 days straight. Didn't actually get above freezing for a couple of days, but got all the wire pulled. I had this much left out of the second 1,000-foot reel, and then of course I bought 250 foot of the 12.3 to use for the 3-way switches and the smoke detector circuit. So I got quite a bit of it left, but all of it's pulled, into the boxes. I got a lot of my home runs go overhead up here. I've got a mess here at the panel where I've got everything just pulled in here to where it'll go. I've got to get me some Romex connectors. The ones I have, according to the website, are only rated for 1 wire each, and I've got about 16 circuits up top here, and I've got 6 620 volt circuits down here, plus a dryer and the range, which will be the 220 volt circuits. Only 2 in the panel, I guess. But they make a plastic push-in connector, half-inch, for the half-inch knockouts, that you could put 2 12-2s in. Lowe's looks like they have it in stock based on the app, so I'm probably going to slip down there and get those before I start messing with this panel. I guess I think to get my inspection, I just have to have everything in the panel. I don't have to have it terminated or anything. So basically, most of the houses I've done heat pumps in, they just actually leave the yellow sheathing on the wire and everything and just kind of keep it crammed in there. But I may, just depending on how much time I got a lot of other stuff I need to do before I can get my inspections, because I might as well. We got about the same building inspector. I think we have 2, and both of them can do the other's job, I believe, so they could come and look at everything at one time. I think they're going to want to see the grounds tied together in each junction box here, so that's what I just started doing after I pulled that last home run. The switch boxes, I've got everything, I've written on everything right now, but of course when I strip this off, it's going to disappear. But as long as I keep up with it, I can take a piece of this sheathing and write on it and stick it back on the 2 powered wires, the black and the in this case be a black, red, and a white. And I can keep track of it for later. Again, I think all they're going to want to see is the grounds tied together. This thing has 3 switches, so I'll have 3 grounds actually coming out here to tie on to each switch. A lot of this stuff is just simple, 1 in, 1 out. A lot of these outlets, bedroom lights, I got voltage coming in, voltage going out to feed something else, and then I got the fan in the center of the room, and then the 4 can lights. I powered up these cans over here in the kitchen, of course the great room I've done before, and that made it easier to work in here at night. And then use this guy whenever I was working back over here. Bathroom, got a couple of cans, a ventilation fan. When you come in the door, you'll have a switch for the can lights and the fan. And then over here where the vanity is going to be setting, we'll have a switch for a vanity light, which is up there. And then you'll have your ground fault receptacle, or your receptacle. The whole bathroom will be ground faulted, so it can just be a standard receptacle. But that's really all there is to the bathrooms. See, that's that wide cable. That's that 12.3 that goes down to the basement smoke detector. Have to have 1 in each bedroom, and you have to have 1 outside of each bedroom. So because I've got 2 short hauls instead of 1 longer haul, I had to have an additional smoke detector. So there's the one outside this bedroom and the one inside this bedroom. Same deal in this bathroom here. You're going to come in, you're going to have a couple of cans and a ventilation fan, and then that's just the vanity light and the receptacle. I got on Facebook Marketplace. I've been looking at stuff on there, mostly old cars, but I just typed in ventilation fans one day, and this one popped up along with that new tone over there. And that was probably what I was going to buy, what was over in the other bathroom, just a standard 80 or 100 CFM fan. But I looked at the model number on this one they had in the picture, and it was about a $180 fan. It's got an ECM motor, it's got a humidity sensor, a timer. It'll run so long after the humidity gets so high or whatever. So, and it's super, super quiet. But it was $45 instead of $180, so I felt lucky to get that. So, and it worked. I took it straight to the shop. It was an open box item, looked like. Probably somebody bought one of those pallet deals, and probably a big box retailer like Home Depot stuck all the returns on a pallet and sold them to some company that sells them at an auction site on the internet. But all in all, I'm glad the wire's pulled out. I'll set up when I get ready to tie some of these together, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with them, just try to keep track of them and see if it makes sense. I've never really done this, not in the last 20 years anyway, but just being around some of the houses being built, I've seen what a lot of electricians do to try to tag their wires so they can find them later. Okay, we got a lot of these grounds tied together now with the little crimp sleeves, but it's turned off to be a pretty nice afternoon out there. So I need to get this vent in for the range hood. See if I can get you up there. I need to get this vent in for the range hood. And what's going to happen with it, I built this box. And what it does, it gives me a place to cut through the wall after the sheetrock is done. Basically what's going to happen is going to go in this stud bay right here and go up into the attic. And depending on what hot cabinet I use and where exactly that microwave outlet is, this will give me plenty of room for correction. So this is a 3 1/4 inch duct going through a 3 1/2 inch wall. So that means I got to cut that wall entirely in two up there. And when I do that, that wall is going to get a little, it's not attached to the trusses anymore, it's just attached to the other walls. So what I'm going to do first is cut some boards and run parallel to the trusses and go over and attach to that closet wall a little over 2 feet away. Probably just hit the floor.
Plug it up and take it off, stick it back to.
I'm filming right now. Hand me that camera. Just the whole thing. I got a wire in the way on that wall over there going to the closet light. So I'm going to have to, I'll notch this 2x6 a little bit on the corner there so it'll go out past it and miss that wire completely. Not gonna make it. It's still sturdy. If it'll stay there without falling down, that's what it's going to look like. I have some holes here and here to screw it at the bottom, and then the top I'll either strap it, or once I get the duct on it, it's probably going to be there, but I need some kind of strap just to keep it from moving in the meantime. Pretty sturdy like that. It may be fine. Sheetrock will hold it in. I should have crimped that before I put it up here. I need to crimp this piece and go up into this 90. But I was just seeing if I was low enough, and it looks like I'll be able to get back under that overhang pretty good. I'm gonna run out and get the crimpers and crimp that squart around. Okay, I've laid a piece of pipe up there to extend out under that shed roof. I'm gonna go up and drill a hole at the farthest point the 90 would be, and then I'm gonna get up on the roof and see if that'll work. If not, I can still add a piece of short pipe and move it on out without this hole being a problem. I'm just going to leave the drill sticking through, and I'm going to take the flashing up there, the vent hood, and see how it'll work out with the shingles. I'll take you with me. Okay, up here on the roof, there's our drill bit. Let's see, this thing, the bottom of it, looks like this. It's pretty big. All we're putting in it's a 6-inch pipe. So, depending on what part of that hole we use. We can probably go up under this shingle right here and then trim these others out. It'll work good, I think. And the reason I'm putting it over here instead of going straight up and out the main roof is if anytime you penetrate a roof, you got a chance of getting a leak. And if you had a leak, you'd rather it be over these stairs that's been outside for 50 years than in the kitchen and the sheetrock and the appliances and whatnot. Okay, it's kind of hard to see a black Sharpie on a black roof, but I've kind of marked out the hole just using one of those 90s. Of course, made it a little big because we got plenty of cover there. So I'm gonna try to take this hole. There's a sawzall and plunge through where I got that little hole already started and see if I can get this thing cut out. I don't know if I can set this over here and let it record or not. It'll probably shake off the roof on it. Turn it upside down, see if it'll stay there, and then I can flip it over. I think that just might work. I guess probably the next thing I need to do is go ahead and go downstairs and put the duct together and get it strapped up and stuck up through the roof like this. And then I can get up here and start cutting these shingles out, doing everything I need to do. And we have daylight up there. Let's see if it's gonna fit up in there all right. I think that'll work just fine. I might need to put a little short piece of pipe on the actual vertical, but maybe not even that. All it's got to do is get out of the roof and it's good. I think we can do it. Okay, I just went ahead and brought the duct and the 90s down so I could screw them together and tape up the seams down here. Come here and hold this 90 down flat to the floor. When you're doing plumbing and you have two 90s going different directions or even the same directions, you can typically glue them together, lay it down on a flat surface and flatten them out, and you'll be good and straight. So I'm gonna have Missy hold this side down. I'm gonna push that side around, hold it down tight going the other direction, and stick a screw in it. If it don't work, I'll just have to take it back apart and fix it. Now it's going to be where it is. Okay, I'll got this little piece of mastic tape left. It's getting all wrinkled up in the van. I'll just use it on this. If this was duct work for heating and air or moving air around in your house, you would want to tape every one of these seams or put mastic on them, but we're basically taking this air and blowing it outside, so we don't care if it did leak a little. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Chances are, since it's going to an open outlet, it's not going to have any resistance. It's going to want to go out the end of this thing. We'll put that strap on it right there just to hold it up so I can get that roof stuff done while it's pretty out. What I'll probably do is at least put some bubble wrap insulation on that where it's going to be up in that hot attic. Insulation will be what, about a foot deep, so some of it will be exposed to the hot attic. And if you run this thing in the summertime when you got this cool conditioned air, it'll try to sweat up there. So that little bit of bubble wrap will probably stop most of that and be easy to work with. I think we're good everywhere except there's a nail right in here. Oh. We're good down that side. I think we're good up that side. And there's that nail we're dealing with. Let me see if I can get it to curl around and come out. Feel the head of it, so it must be in the bottom shingle. So I think that'll work. What I'll do is just use some of this 100% silicone around underneath the shingles, and then I'll use some underneath the front edge here, and I'll put me a a couple of nails in the front here to hold it, to keep it from sliding out, and caulk over top of them, and that should be weather tight. And we're back. I had enough caulk to get all the way back down to here and ran out, and didn't have any more on the van, so I had to run to the shop. Rookie mistake. Put a little extra under here. Now I don't know how far down it comes. Not sure when the rain is coming, probably anytime. It's been wet and snowy here, but hopefully that's the last time we'll need to be on the roof this winter. Don't look at my ladder, especially if you're OSHA. Well, it's late afternoon. Let's see if we got enough daylight left to get these wires pulled down into this panel. So that didn't look too bad. I couldn't decide what to do with this. I actually put this one straight down to start with, and I decided to move it over, keep this center clean. I mean, I don't have that much stuff going in this panel, so we've got plenty of room. So that's everything coming in from the top. Again, I got that regular Romex clamp for that big stove cable, but I like these little plastic ones. They work really good for putting in two number 12s. They fit like a glove, and you can't back them back out. Not without a lot of work. So, got a few on the bottom. Need to jump down there and do that. I'll need to get another. I don't think these are rated for 10-3, but I'll check and make sure. If they are, I'll just use a plastic one, but I bet I have to get one of those Romex connectors. Okay, so the box doesn't say anything on it. When I was getting these the other day, I picked up the small pack, and according to what I read on the internet, they usually list this on the smallest container of the part, and it says that it'll accept 1 14.2 through 6.2, or 2 14.2 through 10.2s. It doesn't say anything about a 3-conductor cable. So the way they do those cables now, they're a lot wider. I can't imagine that 10.3 being wider than a 6.2, but maybe it is. But I'm thinking if it don't say anything about a 3-conductor cable, then I'm probably out of luck. Gosh, it'll fit right in there. What do you think? Think I should do it? That's what inspections are for, right? I mean, it's plenty of room if you can put a 6.2 in it, you ought to be able to put a 10.3 in my opinion. Let's try it. Okay, well, everything is in the panel now. That should be as far as we have to go to get an electrical inspection. I had to order the actual arc fault breakers online. I ordered it from Home Depot, from their actual website rather than their store, because the store didn't have enough. And they're supposed to be in transit from California, be here next week. But I could go ahead and put them all in before he comes out. I would like to get what they call a service release out in the county, which basically you buy an extra permit for $40 and they'll hook up your power, and it's good for 45 days. And if you don't get done in 45 days, you just have to pay another $40 for another 45-day permit. So that would be nice, because you could have, you know, real power here. And if they would, I'm going to jump on that gas line hopefully tomorrow afternoon. If I could get it inspected as well, we could have some heat in this place. So I'll mess around here a little bit more tonight, probably just clean up some and this and that, maybe get some measurements on that gas line. I need to go ahead and get it. Might jump out there and pop it through the wall right quick before dark, and that way I would be down in the Crawlspace working, or in the actual basement. So I could work in any kind of weather, daylight or dark. So I'll look and see how much I got. This might be enough to make an electrical video. Of course, there's more electrical to do, but it's probably going to be a while before we do it. And hopefully we can get this thing buttoned up enough and inspected, and get some other people in here working. I'll probably pay somebody to insulate it and drywall it. That would be fun, just to come by and see what they got done at the end of the day. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.